Okay, hi guys. Today we're going to create some mini phone book application. This mini phone book application caters some basic knowledge on how to create some system. So once you have finished on creating the mini phone book application, we're gonna learn how to do some basic MDI parent form, some model first in entity framework, and some basic crud operation using entity framework. So these are the three information that we're going to learn once you created this mini phone book application. So okay, let's start on creating the mini phone book application. So now first we're going to need to do is create our entity model. So to do the entity or create the entity model, let's add the new item and choose the code, and then choose ADO.NET entity data model. So since we're going to create the entity data model, we're creating the mini phone book application. Let's type it here, mini phone book. Okay, and then click on the add button. Now, a while ago I said that we're going to use some model first, so we're going to choose on the empty model so that we are going to create the model first rather than the database first, because if we choose to generate from database, the database is already created, and it will just going to generate the model coming from the database. But for this application, we're going to create using the empty model, or let's say model first. So click on the empty model, click on finish. So here we are at the MiniPhonebook.etmx, and then okay, we're done creating the mini phone book model, and let's add some entity, or let's say this is just the table for our database. So since we're going to create mini phone book, we're going to create some contact, then okay, leave the base type to none, entity set to contacts. Basically it just pluralize the contact, then create query property, and then okay. Now so we have created the entity contact, but we don't have the fields like, let's say, contact name, the contact number. These are the basic information that we're going to need when we create the contact, right? So let's add some scalar property, add another one, and then okay, and then this property, let's change this into, or this is going to be the contact name. Just set the set nullable to false, so that we don't want this to be null or accept a null value. Then the property _1, change this again to the contact number. Okay, now we already created the contact entity ID, which will serve as our primary key. If you want to check if this is the primary key, you can see store generated pattern is identity, which means that it is auto generated. And then you can see there is a key in here, or let's say it's the entity key, or in other words, this is the primary key of the contact. So we have now the contact name, contact number. We are now ready to create the database. So to create the database, choose the generate database from model. Since see, you can see here, guys, I already have some many SQL connection here, so let's create another one for our mini phone book. So click on here, choose the server name that you are going to create or you're going to use. Here I'm going to use the developer PC or /SQL Express, or this is the Express edition. And then after that, you can just type here the database name that you want to create. So we're going to create some mini phone book DB. You can click on a KISS connection. If you notice, it will going to create some error message because we don't have the mini phone book database on our SQL server yet. So it prompts a message that a connection was successfully established with the server, but then an error occurred during the login process because we don't have the database yet. So to do that, click on the OK button and it will prompt to us that the database mini phone book DB does not exist, or you do not have permission to see it because we don't have it yet. So it will ask us, would you like to attempt to create it? So let's click on the yes, and it will create the database for us. And then at the entity connection string, you notice it changed now. You have here the mini phone book.dbo. The source will be the a while ago that we have choose. The initial catalog will be the database. So notice here the mini phone book DB. And then okay, we're almost ready to create the database. So click on the next button. So it created a DDL. It will be the script that we're going to run in order for us to create the database. So click on the finish. And okay, we have now the entity model script. Basically, when we run the script, it will create a database for us here. Okay, now if you notice, it is disconnected. So with the connection, click on you can just right click on it, the connection, connect, server name. Since we created this to the developer /SQL Express, set this to the default Windows authentication, connect. Okay, we are now connected. And then right click again and execute SQL. Okay, script runs successfully. So now we have created the database using the model first. Okay, and then let's close this one. And okay, let's click on this yes. And then here we are again at the form1.csdesign. So now, a while ago also I said that we are going to use some basic MDI. So at the form1, let's change its property so that it will be appropriate, or let's say we can identify that this is a mini phone book application. Like in here, mini phone book. Oops, should be application. Okay, and then the properties, find the property that here is MDI container. By default it is set to false, but we're going to create or change this into true so that it will be an MDI form. So let's resize this for a bit. Okay, and voila. Now once you have created the mini phone book application MDI form, let's add some menu strip to it. So let's drag it there. Then let's type in here, let's say new contact. Okay, and then once we already created the new contact menu, so let's add some new form also, so that when we click the new contact, a new form will appear wherein we were able to create the new contact for our Mini Phonebook application. So here, let's add new item, and then choose the Windows form, and choose the Windows form again, and let's rename this one to the FRM new contact. Okay, then here it will add some new contact. Now let's assign the FRM new contact so that it will be able to add a new contact to our phone book. So as usual, we need some label and a text box. Okay, in this label, let's copy paste this for a bit. There, contact the text box as well. Then change the text of the label one. So here, the text, this will be changed into, let's say, contact name, and the other one into contact number. Okay, let's try changing as well the text box so that it will be appropriate, just like we're creating the new system. Okay, let's change it to txt underscore contact or txt contact underscore name. Okay, then here change this into txt contact underscore number. Okay, now the design. Once we're already almost done on the designing part, so let's add some more contact, or a button I mean, sorry. And then in this button, change its property, change its name into btn new underscore contact. And then, or forgot, let's also change its text value to save. Okay, now we have done on creating the form that will be able to add a new contact. But let's go back again to the form one. Here, the form one, click on the new contact, and then once you are in the new contact, double click on it, and it will go into the code part, which is the new contact strip. And then here we're going to open the FRM new contact. So let's type in here var FRM new contact is equals to new FRM new contact. Okay, here we're going to create a new instance of the new FRM contact form, and then that FRM new contact dot mdi oops, let's change the the what I mean the variable name of this one, it should be not almost the same as this one, let's say, because the intelligence cannot find the MDI parent because it is, or let's say, you notice in here it is being said here the class mini MDI parent form, but what basically or what we want to use is this one. So let's change this one into new contact. Okay, that new contact that MDI parent. Okay, you can see here, guys, you can now see the MDI parent property, and then the new contact that MDI parent. So since we want it to be the form 1 and we are in the form 1, you can just click on or type here that this, and okay, and that's it. We set the MDA parent form of the new contactor. We're going to open to the instance of this form 1, which is the MDI parent container. So, and then after that, new contact that show. Okay, now let's test if it is working. So click on the F5 to see if it's working. Okay, you can see here, guys. Let's click on the new contact, and okay, it's working. It opens an FRM new contact form. And let's close that for a bit and stop our program. Now we're able to create or open the new contact, but we don't have the code yet to add the new contact to our database. So let's go back to our FRM new contact and then click on the save button to open the code part. So we are now here at the btn new contact. That once you click the new contact, we're going to create a contact. So here, let's instantiate the model container. So if we don't want or we don't know the model container or the object dataset of our model, click on the Mini Phonebook designer, then click onto the context, and then here, as you can see, this is our object context, or this is what we are going to use, Mini Phonebook container. Okay, let's go back again to the code. Here, mini, or oh, sorry about that, it should be var db is equals to new Mini Phonebook container. This is our object data context, so that's why. Now, once I've created a new instance of the Mini Phonebook container, we're going to create a new entity of the contact. So to do that again, let's say var new contact is equals to new contact. Okay, is the entity of the Mini Phonebook contact, as you can see here, contact, and then okay, then let's specify the or add the value of the new contact properties, like the contact name and the contact number, because if you notice, let's go back into the Mini Phonebook, we have a property of contact name, contact number, but we don't need the ID property because this is the the entity key and it is auto generated. So go back again to the code, type it here, new contact, that contact name will be equals to txt contact name dot underscore text box, and the other property be new contact, that contact number equals to txt contact number dot text. Okay, so now we're almost done on adding the code on how to add some new contact to our entity. So to add some entity or add the entity contact to our mini phone book container, let's type in here contact, or sorry, should be db dot add to contacts, open parenthesis, and as you can see here guys, the parameters are contact. So type in here new contact, and okay, we have instantiate the mini phone book container, create a new entity, specify its property, add the new contact that we have created to the mini phone book container, and then lastly will be the submit or save changes to the database. So to do that, let's say db dot save changes. Okay, so this code basically add the contact to our mini phone book application. But what if there are some, or let's say error happen when adding the new contact, and we don't want the user to see that, oh, your system is not working because there's some git runtime and displays that there are some errors. So basically we're going to do some try catch in here, try catch and exception x, and by here, and this one should be here. Let's say that we're going to try and save changes to the database, and if whether something happen or something exception happen, let's do some perform operation here. Let's say for example to display that message box that show an error occurred. Please try again. Okay, and then, or maybe this is an advice for you guys, since, or maybe this is what I learned from, since I am working already, that you don't want to display the error message to your user. So what you need to do is, or add logs to, or add logs of error into let's say a text file or database. But I'm not going to add that anymore, because you can just search on how to write text file into C#. You can just Google about it and it will always display. But just an information that it would better not to display the error messages into the user, because a user does not know what happened. Or let's say if you put here that ex.toString, you're going to display the error messages, and if the user doesn't know what does that mean, let's say for example exception blah blah blah, and okay, so just type in here error occurred, please try again. Or let's say please contact your system administrator or something like that. And okay, and then the system admin, if you want that the system administrator will then know what will happen, because you already have some add logs of error or logs of error into the text file or database. So okay guys, by the way, I forgot also that once it's successful, why not display a message as well to, or notify the user that saving is successful. So let's say new contact save, Okay, now let's test our program. This warning in here because we created an exception X, but we don't basically use it. So try again. Click on the new contact and the contact name. Let's add some here. Let's say Dan. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then click on the save button. You notice if it is successful, it will display the message box new contact saved. But let's test in here. New contact saved because it is successful. Okay, then close again. Click on the new contact. If you notice a while ago, when we create the model, we set the contact and the contact name and the contact number to nullable equals false, which means that it does not accept a null value. So what if we try to click on the save button and then let's leave this to blank? Supposedly it should display an error occurred. Please try again, because it will catch an exception to it because it says that it does not accept null values. But basically I'm not going to display the error, so let's type in here. Oh, sorry about that. I thought it was going to, because I forgot that I set it to a string, which means that basically this will return into or let's say a blank value. Oh, my bad. It's quite my fault about that. I thought it was going to return a blank value, but anyway, if in case what an error happened, it should go into this part. And just a friendly reminder, do not display error messages into your message box, but rather add it to a logs into a text file or into the database. Okay, now let's stop debugging. Okay, what if you want to check if the database is already added to our or the changes, or let's say what we have added is already into the database. So to check about it, go to your SQL Server Management Studio. If you don't have the SQL Server Management Studio, you can just download it to Microsoft. And okay, let's wait this for a bit. And then okay, in this one, connect the database. Okay, the Mini Phonebook DB, the tables, contacts, select top 1000. As you can see in here, guys, it are the contact name and the contact number. If you notice, what a while ago we added some blank because basically let's say null, or I forgot that null is not equal to blank, or let's say space or blank, because those two are not equal. So maybe I forgot about it. But anyway, we have learned some that, or let's say we can now add a new contact to our Mini Phonebook application. And the other part will, or the next part of the video will be how to do some editing, searching, and updating as well. And some wherein we're going to create some new or list view or grid view so that we can display the value. But that will be the next part of the video, and I hope you could watch that again, guys. And thanks again for watching, and goodbye.